The exact moment you decide to let your natural silver grow out, it feels incredibly liberating. But let's be completely honest with each other. There is a terrifyingly fine line between looking like a chic, sophisticated woman who commands every room she walks into and looking like you've simply given up on your appearance. If you feel like your silver hair is suddenly making you look washed out, sallow, or a bit unpolished, it isn't your age, it's your routine. You are working with a completely new fabric now, and using your old hair rules is secretly dragging your style down. Today, we are skipping the standard corporate beauty fluff. We're breaking down the 4 specific gray hair habits that are aging your look, and the 5 practical, realistic shifts that turn silver hair into your absolute best style asset. Let's start immediately with the single biggest mistake happening right inside your shower, what I call the yellowing halo. To understand why this happens without a boring science lecture, we have to look at what gray hair actually is under a microscope. When your hair loses its original pigment, the strand becomes structurally empty. It loses its melanin, meaning it becomes completely translucent. Because it is empty and highly porous, it behaves exactly like a pristine white linen shirt or a cream cashmere sweater. If you wear a white shirt outside and expose it to pollution, smoke, dust, and everyday sunlight, what happens to it over time? It turns yellow, dingy, and stained. The unpolished habit here isn't just that the hair changes color, it's the assumption that our standard everyday supermarket shampoo is enough to protect it from the environment. When you walk out your front door, the oxygen in the air and the ultraviolet rays from the sun create a mild chemical reaction on your hair called oxidation. Visually, this does something incredibly unflattering to a woman over 60. It instantly changes how your skin tone looks. Brilliant, clean silver acts like a natural reflector. It bounces light up onto your face, which naturally softens the shadows under our eyes, minimizes the appearance of fine lines, and brightens our overall complexion. But the moment that silver takes on a rusty, oxidized yellow tone, it does the exact opposite. It casts a sallow, tired shadow downward onto your skin, making you look exhausted even when you feel fantastic and got a perfect 8 hours of sleep. And here's the part of the problem that takes place inside your own plumbing: hard water. If you live in an area with older city pipes, municipal water treatments, or well water packed with calcium, magnesium, and iron, those microscopic minerals lodge themselves right inside your translucent hair strands. Then, when you style your hair with a curling iron or a blow dryer, you are quite literally baking those minerals directly into the hair fabric. It creates a dull, heavy, brassy look that gives the subconscious impression of neglect rather than a beautiful, intentional style choice. If you've been wondering why your hair feels heavy or looks a bit rusty no matter how much you wash it, leave a comment below because hard water is almost always the hidden culprit. Now, let's move into territory where I know some of you might instantly want to defend yourselves, and I completely understand why. This is where things start to change, and we need to talk about the length trap, or what I call the ghost silhouette. For almost our entire lives, we've been told by magazines, television, and culture that long, flowing hair is the ultimate symbol of youth, health, and femininity. Because of that lifelong conditioning, it is incredibly difficult to let go of length. Many of us hold on to it like a safety blanket well into our 60s and 70s. But when your hair transitions to gray, the physical rules of how that hair behaves change completely. And ignoring this is a major misstep. Natural gray hair is fundamentally coarser, less elastic, and significantly more prone to thinning at the very ends than pigmented hair. When you keep your silver hair very long without a highly defined strategic shape, gravity takes over. The hair pulls completely flat against the crown of your head, loses its volume, and splays out into thin, see-through, wispy strands at the bottom. From behind, this creates a completely unstructured silhouette. It looks like a shape that is just happening to you because you haven't visited a stylist, rather than a deliberate design you chose. It creates a ghostly effect where your hair completely blends into your clothing, blurring your posture and making your shoulders look rounded. I know what some of you are thinking right now, and I can already hear the keyboards clicking in the comments section. You're saying, "But I've had long hair my whole life, my husband loves it, I get compliments on it, and I am absolutely not cutting it short." And you shouldn't have to if you love it. Let me be completely clear. This does not mean every woman over 60 needs to get a short, boyish haircut. Not at all. But it does mean that if you choose to keep your hair long, it cannot be left unshaped or unanchored. When long silver hair lacks a crisp perimeter, a blunt weight line, or strategic layers, it washes out your frame. Instead of lifting your features up, it drags the eye downward, emphasizing the natural softening of the jawline and neck. If your hair doesn't have a clear, intentional edge that looks sharp against your clothes, it stops looking like a style and starts looking like extra weight that is tiring out your look. If you are someone who is fiercely defending your long silver hair, tell me how you keep it looking thick and structured in the comments, because that is a conversation we need to have. To fix that yellowing halo and the dullness we just talked about, many women naturally swing completely to the opposite extreme, which brings us directly to our third unpolished habit. And this is where a lot of well-meaning advice goes wrong. The purple shampoo overdose. We've all seen this out in public, at the grocery store, at the local cafe, or at family gatherings. A beautiful, elegant woman whose hair isn't silver, white, or gray, but is instead a distinctly patchy, accidental shade of pastel lavender or chalky blue. Here's what's happening behind the scenes. You notice your hair is looking a little brassy, so you go online or to the store and buy a highly pigmented purple shampoo. You apply it, leave it on too long, or use it every single time you wash your hair. Because gray hair is incredibly porous, it drinks up that violet artificial pigment unevenly. The coarser, healthier parts of your hair might stay white, while the drier, more fragile ends turn a distinct shade of purple. What makes this look unpolished is that it immediately signals an at-home correction mistake. True tone correction should be entirely invisible to the naked eye. Your hair should look like it naturally exists in a clean, bright, healthy state. Not like you had an accident with a toner bottle in the bathroom. More importantly, many cheap, mass-market purple shampoos are incredibly drying. They are loaded with heavy sulfates that strip away moisture from an already dry hair follicle. And remember this, because it is the core idea of everything we are discussing today. The number one element required to make silver hair look sophisticated and expensive is light reflection. When you dry out the hair cuticle with constant, aggressive purple shampooing, you create an opaque, matte finish. You've essentially traded a yellow halo for a chalky violet helmet, and neither one delivers the bright, healthy look you actually want. If you've ever accidentally turned your hair purple, hit that like button right now, because it is a rite of passage that almost every silver sister has gone through at least once. Our fourth habit is a classic case of out of sight, out of mind. And it's the part that actually makes or breaks how put together you look from the side and the back. It's what I call the neglected nape and the multi-texture panic. When we stand in front of our bathroom mirrors in the morning, we are looking at ourselves strictly in two dimensions. We style our bangs, we smooth down the sides that frame our cheeks, we check our makeup, and we think we're ready for the day. But the rest of the world sees us in three dimensions. People see you at a 45-degree angle when you're ordering your coffee. They see you from behind when you walk past them or sit down in front of them. The tricky thing about gray hair is that it rarely grows uniformly across your scalp. For most of us, the hair at the temples and the crown turns silver first, and it often has a completely different texture. It might be wiry, erratic, and stubborn. Meanwhile, the hair at the back of your head, near the nape of your neck, might remain darker, finer, or prone to intense frizzing from rubbing against your coat collars, tags, jewelry, and scarves throughout the day. The unpolished habit here is failing to reconcile these different textures into one cohesive look. If the front of your hair is beautifully smoothed out, but the back and the nape of your neck are left to their own wild, frizzy devices, it creates a massive visual disconnect. It looks like two different hair routines are living on the same head. When you wear a beautiful classic outfit, but it's paired with an unmanaged frizzy texture at the back, it subtly offsets the elegance of your entire look. It gives the impression that the styling routine was cut short or that you ran out of time. Now, if you've listened to these four habits and recognized your own reflection in one, or maybe even all of them, I want you to take a deep breath. Please don't feel discouraged, and definitely don't think you need to run out and buy a box of hair dye to cover it all up again. This is not a reprimand at all, it's just an awakening. The moment you realize exactly where your hair routine is bumping up against its new reality is the exact moment you get your power back. You don't have to fight your hair anymore, you just have to give it the right system. Let's be completely realistic and handle the silent doubt right now. Your hair is never going to be perfectly flawless 24 hours a day, and it shouldn't have to be. Real life is busy, it's humid, it's rainy, and it's messy. You will still deal with a stubborn hair day or a bit of frizz occasionally. That is completely normal for mature texture, and no product on earth will eliminate that completely. But by making a few intentional systemic shifts in how you handle your silver, you can make sure that even on your casual days, your hair looks purposeful, bright, and completely elevated. Now, here's the part that actually makes this work. Let's transition into the 5 practical, realistic transformations that turn silver hair into your best style asset. The first secret to making silver hair look incredibly elevated is shifting your focus entirely away from color and putting it on luminosity. We achieve this by utilizing a clear acid gloss. Now, let's handle a major misconception right away. When people think of shiny hair, they often reach for heavy, golden hair oils like traditional argan or heavy silicones. But as we established earlier, because gray hair is completely translucent, those tinted yellow oils will actually stain your silver over time. They act like a magnet for dust and accelerate that yellowing halo. Instead, the modern, realistic solution is a clear, demi-permanent acid gloss. You don't need a luxury salon budget for this. You can find fantastic dermatologist-tested clear glosses right at your local beauty supply store or drugstore to use at home. These formulas contain absolutely zero dye. They won't change your hair color by even half a shade. Instead, they work at a structural level to balance the pH of your hair and gently smooth down the rough, raised outer layers of the hair strand. Think of it like the difference between a rough piece of weathered wood and a smooth piece of polished stone. When the hair surface is flat and hydrated, daylight hits it and bounces off evenly, creating a bright, vibrant reflection. It gives your silver a healthy clarity that looks completely intentional, while keeping the hair feeling soft and light instead of weighed down. You will still have to deal with your natural texture, but the way it interacts with the light will be completely different. Our second shift is embracing precision architecture. As we talked about with the length trap, gray hair requires clear boundaries to look its best. It needs a definitive shape to anchor your face. When you sit down in your stylist's chair for your regular trim, the word you want to avoid is wispy. Wispy, heavily texturized layers on mature silver hair can very quickly look frayed, split, and dry at the ends, which contributes to that unpolished look. Instead, you want to ask for clean, blunt structural lines. If you prefer a shorter style, think about a classic structured bob that hits right at the jawline, or a beautifully shaped pixie with a clean, tapered nape. If you love your long hair and want to keep it, that is fantastic, but make sure the very bottom perimeter is cut thick and blunt, giving the illusion of density and health. A clean, precise cut acts like an instant frame for your entire upper body. By creating strong, deliberate lines in your hair, you create a visual balance against the natural softening of our features that happens as we age. It sharpens your profile, emphasizes your cheekbones, and frames your eyes. It signals to everyone who looks at you that your silver hair is a conscious, beautiful fashion choice, not an accident of skipping salon visits. The third transformation takes place outside of your bathroom and right inside your closet. And this is where most people get surprised. You need to introduce a high-contrast wardrobe pivot. The color palette that made you look vibrant when you had your original brown, blonde, or red hair will often work against you once your hair turns silver, because your hair is now a cool, light neutral. Wearing mid-tone, muted colors like heather gray, muddy beige, soft taupe, or dusty pastels can create a visual vacuum. It eliminates contrast entirely, making your skin and hair blend into one monochromatic tone that can leave you looking a bit washed out or invisible. To make silver hair truly look stunning, your wardrobe needs to provide a deliberate, high-contrast canvas. You want colors that make your silver pop rather than compete with it. Start leaning into crisp, pristine whites that match the brightness of your hair. Bring in deep, saturated jewel tones like rich navy blue, deep emerald green, commanding charcoal, and classic burgundy. When you place bright silver hair against the backdrop of a sharp navy blazer or a beautiful dark green sweater, the contrast is instant and beautiful. The hair stops looking like gray and starts looking like a stunning, bright accessory. You instantly look high definition, sharp, and completely put together, without changing a single thing about your makeup. Our fourth transformation is for the woman who wants to work with her natural patterns. Rather than trying to force a uniform look, introducing the concept of the target frame or herringbone dimension. In real life, natural gray hair rarely grows in perfectly evenly from the front of your head to the back. Many women find that they have a beautiful streak of bright white right at the forehead, but the back of their hair remains dark or a bit salt and pepper. Trying to make it all look exactly the same with all over color can be incredibly frustrating and high maintenance. Instead of fighting that natural pattern, the goal here is to work with a stylist who understands how to map dimension. Through a technique often called herringbone highlighting, a colorist can weave very fine, subtle strands of cool lowlights, like slate gray, soft charcoal, or cool ash, throughout your hair, to bridge the gap between your natural dark patches and your bright silver patches. This creates a beautiful optical illusion of depth. When you walk, move, or style your hair, the light catches these different multi-dimensional tones. It breaks up that flat, heavy, solid appearance that gray hair can sometimes take on, making your hair look thick, dimensional, and perfectly tailored to your face, without requiring high-maintenance, all-over dye that ruins your hair quality. Finally, our fifth shift is premium texture management, focusing entirely on fluidity over stiffness. Sophisticated hair always has natural movement. It moves when you walk, it handles the wind gracefully, and it falls softly back into place when you turn your head. What we want to avoid at all costs is that stiff, crunchy texture that comes from relying too heavily on old-school hairsprays to keep stubborn grays in place. Because gray hair follicles naturally produce less sebum, the hair defaults to feeling stiff, dry, and unyielding. To reverse this, your daily routine needs to focus on weightless moisture. Try swapping out heavy, thick styling creams that contain heavy silicones, which can sit on top of the hair, weigh it down, and actually collect dust throughout the day. And look for lightweight leave-in conditioners or water-based hydrators. When you use hot tools, always use a dedicated low heat setting and apply a weightless heat protectant mist first. Another incredibly simple, real-world shift is swapping out your standard cotton pillowcase for a soft silk or satin one. This eliminates the overnight friction that roughs up the hair cuticle and creates that frizzy nape of the neck texture we talked about earlier. When your silver hair is properly hydrated from the inside out, it regains its natural flexibility. It looks soft, healthy, and fluid. Embracing your natural silver hair after 60 is one of the most empowering style transitions you can make. It is a true celebration of your confidence, your individuality, and your personal style journey. But always remember that letting your natural hair shine doesn't mean you stop caring for it. It just means you're learning to care for a beautiful new material. By understanding how your silver interacts with light, protecting it from environmental yellowing, keeping a clean architectural edge on your cut, and pairing it with rich, high-contrast colors, you ensure your hair looks entirely intentional, vibrant, and elevated. I want to thank you so much for spending your time with me today. If this video brought you some clarity and real-world value, hitting that like button is a wonderful, silent way to support the channel and help other women find this community. I'd love for you to take a moment to reflect on your own daily routine down in the comments. Which of these small, practical shifts feels like something you want to try out this week? Or maybe you have a real-world tip that has worked wonders for your silver texture? Let's keep the conversation going in a helpful, supportive way down below. And if you want to make sure the rest of your everyday look matches the bright, intentional energy of your hair, take a look at this video right here, where we discuss simple wardrobe adjustments that keep your personal style looking beautifully balanced and elegant every single day. Take care of yourselves, and I will see you in the next video.